of the 108.1 FNFB podcast. I'm Darian.
Mike.
And we're going to break down and preview week 5, right? Week 5 games starting with tonight's Thursday, October 4th, Thursday Night Football. It is Indianapolis Colts at New England Patriots. I'm excited about this game. I actually think these two teams are closer in talent than people might realize. And yeah, there's Tom Brady and Bill Belichick on one side, but Frank Reich has been a pretty interesting head coach so far as a rookie head coach, but he's done some interesting stuff. He did some ballsy stuff last week with the Houston game where they went for it on 4th down, and it was a bad play call, I thought, but I think that going for the win instead of the tie in overtime was awesome. I get that he lost, but I'd rather. I don't know. I hate ties, so.
Yeah, there's almost been a tie every single week so far. Yeah, there has been overtime every single week, I believe, but there's been almost ties every single week.
There's been several opportunities for multiple ties each week. Actually, it's been pretty crazy. So.
Yep. But now I got to say something about the Colts, though.
Yeah.
Marlon Mack,
mm-hmm.
hurt. Nate Hairston hurt. Darius Leonard hurt. T.Y. Hilton hurt. Kenny Moore hurt. Jack Doyle hurt. Anthony Costanzo hurt.
Right.
They got a lot of people. They got 7 or 8 guys that didn't practice all week and are likely to not play tonight.
Right. Well, so and that is totally accurate. But I also, because, and I'm not arguing with you, I would just like to say on the other side of this, Rob Gronkowski hurt. He hasn't practiced all week with the ankle issue. It says he's likely to play, but we'll see. And even if he does, he may not play a lot. Rex Burkhead out. Marcus Cannon.
Julian Edelman back.
Yeah, Julian Edelman back, but we don't know how many snaps he'll be on because he hasn't played in 4 weeks. So we'll see. Marcus Cannon, game time decision, and then obviously all the guys that they've already lost for the year, like Jawant Bentley, Duke Dawson, and Jeremy Hill, blah 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 blah. So the Patriots are just as banged up, honestly. Well, maybe not just as banged up, but they're pretty banged up, and Josh Gordon still has the hamstring thing, and he played. I don't know how many snaps he played last week, but he only got a few looks, and he looked okay. So I think they're just integrating him slowly into the system. But this is in New England, and it is Thursday Night Football, and
the Patriots will win.
What's that?
I said, and the Patriots will win.
I think so. I think they got, honestly, I don't think they're as dominant as they looked last week against Miami when they blew them out, but I do think they got right, and I think they're going to get even more right this week with Julian Edelman coming back because he's the most, honestly, I think he's the most important skill position player they've had in a long time, even over Gronkowski, because they've won Super Bowls without Gronkowski. You know what I mean? And they've gotten to Super Bowls, multiple Super Bowls without Gronkowski. So the offense changes, especially on 3rd down, especially on 1st down and 3rd down with Edelman out. So, but he's going to be back, and we'll see. He's coming off ACL tear. He hasn't played because he's been suspended. He's 32, 33. He's getting up there in age. So, that's an issue with the knee thing. But I think I got the Patriots by probably a touchdown, maybe less. I think it'll be a good game for sure. So.
Yeah, I got the Patriots by double digits.
Ooh, okay.
Easy. I don't think the Colts are going to be able to score. All their skill players, excluding Captain Andrew Luck, are injured.
Well, T.Y. Hilton should play. He came back, even though he got hurt. I think it was a chest injury? I don't remember what it was, but he did get hurt Sunday, but he did come back to play. So I think T.Y. Hilton's going to be good to go.
No, he's got a hamstring now.
Oh. Well,
it says he's week to week. Kenny Moore's week to week. Jack Doyle's week to week. Anthony Costanzo's week to week. Everybody's week to week. Marlon Mack's week to week. Adam Vinatieri's got a groin, but he's likely to play.
Right. I knew most of that. I didn't know T.Y. Hilton had a hamstring. I didn't know that. Was it in practice that he heard it?
I don't think so.
It's weird. I know he got. Well, maybe maybe it was the hamstring during the game, but either way, he did get hurt in the second quarter, I think. Maybe the first quarter, but he eventually came back and played the rest of the game. So, but we'll see. It is a short week, so maybe you don't risk playing him to re-aggravate that. Maybe you get him a week and a half off of rest to right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the Sunday slated game. So we both got the Patriots. You're keeping track of that, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got first on this NFL.com schedule. I'm looking at the Tennessee Titans at the Buffalo Bills. This game has trap game potential for the Titans, but if they're as good as they seem to be so far this year, which is actually pretty good. They lost a weird game to Miami week 1 because of the whole hurricane 8-hour game thing. But overall, they've looked pretty good. They fought a tough one against Jacksonville a couple weeks ago, and they pulled that out. I don't know, man. And Mike Vrabel, I just think that whole coaching staff is like Chris Wessling said this. I think on Twitter last Sunday, he was like, the Titans coaching staff is coaching their asses off. Like they're really cool. Like they're making really smart moves, and they're making ballsy moves too. And I just think, I don't know, man. I don't know. I like Mike Vrabel a lot, but you know me, I'm a Patriot fan, so I've obviously got some affinity for him anyway. But I think Titans, if things don't go right, they could slip up in Buffalo if Josh Allen plays well. But I think they're going to handle their business on the road.
Yeah, if this was November or something, I would be a little more pessimistic about it. But I think, based on what I've seen out of the Bills, excluding their one bizarre game where I don't remember, that's I don't know, they're not that good. No. I got the Titans on this one. Now the next one is going to be tougher.
Oh, it's going to be really tough because we have no idea which of
either team is going to show up.
Yeah, both teams are extremely bipolar. So
yep. So Falcons at Steelers.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Atlanta, Pittsburgh. So it's in Pittsburgh, which I do think helps Pittsburgh. I'm not sure. Is Matt Ryan historically good outside of a dome? Because I know Drew Brees isn't. But is Matt Ryan?
I think it's indifferent. He didn't play in a dome in college at all.
Right. That's accurate. He was in Boston College, so that is true. I think it depends. This game's going to depend on which defense makes a play in terms of wins a turnover battle, because I don't think either of their defenses are very good at all. And that's for different reasons. I don't think the Steelers have many good players on defense anymore, and I don't think that the Falcons have anyone healthy, because I know they don't have anyone healthy. They're missing several guys. They're missing Keanu Neal. They're missing Deion Jones, right?
Yep, Ricardo Allen.
Yeah, Ricardo Allen. So
and then not only that, but throw into the mix, you've got Julio's banged up, Devontae Freeman's still banged up, Tevin Coleman's banged up,
right? Grady Jarrett,
Mohamed Sanu's banged up. Everybody's banged up.
Right? Grady Jarrett, exactly. So they've got a lot of issues on that defense, and they do have a lot. Like I said, they have some dings on the offense too. But I don't know, man. I am going to take Atlanta, because Atlanta has shown me that, aside from the week 1 in Philadelphia, when that game was also weird because it was delayed by like 2.5 hours or whatever because of thunderstorms. And I really do think that all these guys, me personally, just go on a little thing real quick. I think athletes are creatures of habit once they get into their set schedules, especially like basketball players, but I still think football players as well. And I think if you screw up the rhythm of something, I think it really affects everyone. I really do. So I think that starting games later, like hours later than they're supposed to be, just sitting in the locker room waiting to play, I think that stuff screws the whole dynamic of a game up for both teams. So I kind of toss those games aside. But other than that Philly game where they still had the red zone issues, Atlanta for the most part has looked pretty good. Now they haven't always been able to stop people, because like they couldn't stop the Saints, but I think I trust their offense more than I trust the Steelers' offense, because James Conner's kind of come back down to earth. And, I mean, they still have Antonio Brown there, but he's been kind of whining about targets and stuff, and they still don't have Le'Veon Bell. He's actually said that he's reported to come week 7 during their bye week. He's going to come back, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah, we'll see about that. I mean, he probably will, but I just don't know. So, I don't know. And then Eli Rogers is still out. Marcus Gilbert's a game-time decision, their tackle. So, I don't know, man. I think I'm going to take Atlanta here.
I'm taking the Steelers. They're both banged up. They're both not playing as well as they should be playing. But if you can't find a way to throw the ball to Julio Jones in the red zone, get that dude a touchdown in a month, something's wrong. Something's wrong. So
Oh yeah, don't get me started on Steve Sarkisian because there is something
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. So I'm taking the Steelers on that one.
All right.
I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a shootout because
I do too.
both offenses are pretty good, and both defenses are the opposite of pretty good. They're 7th in offense. Falcons are 28th in defense. Steelers are 6th in offense and 30th in defense.
Right, they're pretty much identical teams, honestly, in every
Yeah.
way. They really are. So, I, and I agree with you. I'm taking Atlanta, but I absolutely think that Pittsburgh has a chance, or more than a chance. I mean, I think it's 50-50. I'm just going with the team that I think I trust more right now because they played a little better. So
the Broncos at the Jets, 1:00 in New York. Well, not really New York, but
the Meadowlands.
We'll just call it New York, just because they're called the New York Jets.
The New Jersey Jets.
The New Jersey Jets. The New Jersey Giants.
The New Jersey Football Jets. All right, okay, we have to stop. Okay, so what do you think about this game? I'm interested on your take on this, on the whole Darnold thing, the Case Keenum thing. Both these defenses kind of playing well, but also not as good as they used to be. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm sitting here kind of looking at all the injuries everybody's got, and who's missing and who's not missing, who didn't get suspended, Robbie Anderson.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just don't think the Jets are that good. I mean, I'm not saying the Broncos are that good, but I mean, they almost beat the Chiefs, and if they would have called delay of game, they would have beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, Mile High is not an easy place to play for anyone. Even when Denver's bad, it's not an easy place to play. So
yeah, you run out of air, and if they speed up the offense, the defense gets gassed.
Right.
I mean,
but like we said,
not to talk about the Raiders, but that's exactly what happened to them. They were doing perfectly fine until they went no huddle in the middle of the fourth quarter, and that's all she wrote.
Right.
Couldn't substitute, and they all just pretty much ended up standing around watching them throw the ball down the field.
Exactly. But like we were saying, this isn't in Mile High. So with that being said, I think we have a Sam Darnold party here. Not like I'm saying like he's not going to pull a Mitch Trubisky from last week and throw 6 touchdowns or anything.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell was up with that.
That was insane. That was really weird. But I do think Sam Darnold shows like, look, you guys picked the right guy for this team. So because I think he's good. I just think he's going to do a lot of rookie stuff. Like he's one of the guys that like really does the rookie stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I do think he's really good still. I think they picked. I'm not sure if they picked the exact right guy because, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to tell. But I think that the Jets are going to win this game at home. I really do. And, I mean, Todd Bowles is coaching for his job here because any week now that they start losing a couple in a row here, I'm not sure he'll keep his job, you know? He's had a long leash. So when does it end?
Well, I mean, you give the guy a rookie quarterback, you probably ought to let him play the year. Let him coach the year out.
I agree with that completely. I'm just saying I feel like he's on the hot seat. I would not fire him this year at all. I totally agree with that. But unless maybe at the end of the year things aren't working. But I do think at some point I've got to start seeing some semblance of results. I'm not saying make the playoffs because that's not really a reasonable expectation. But I need to see some movement towards progress, which I don't see usually from this team. So I think this is the time where we can start to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just don't know if they're going to be able to. I don't see. It's not that I think the Broncos are all that great. I would suspect that they're going to end up around 500 or less for the year would be my guess.
Yeah, they're textbook 8-8 team. They really are.
Yeah, but I don't see the Jets winning more than 6. And so even if I give a little bit of an advantage to the Jets, you know, because they're playing in New Jersey Giants Jet Stadium, I think the Broncos will do it. I think Chris Harris will lock down one side, and they got Chubb and Von Miller, and I don't see the Jets putting up more than 6 points.
Well, you know, I've been thinking about it, and I'm switching my pick, and I am, and the reason why is actually nothing to do with what you said because while I get what you're saying and I agree with you, I'm not sure the Jets defense is really any good at all right now. And Trumaine Johnson, I remember he might play, but he's banged up. They've got a couple injuries on that defense, and I just remembered that the Broncos have the really good two-headed monster in the backfield now with Philip Lindsay and what's his name, Royce Freeman. Those guys are good, man. Those guys are good. Those running backs. So I'm not sure that they can really be stopped. And an underrated, or not underrated, but a thing that's going like under the radar is that Case Keenum's kind of been throwing a lot of picks this year already. But I don't know. I just think that
there's a lot of guys that have been throwing picks this year for some reason. It's been a strange year. There's guys that normally don't throw interceptions or are throwing a lot of them.
Well, so yeah, and that's right. And I just because I wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy. He's thrown so far. He's thrown twice as many interceptions as touchdowns. He's three TDs, 6 interceptions. So he's kind of giving the ball away. So that's man. Now I'm so on the fence here.
Well, they have the number 3 rushing attack, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to just run the ball like crazy.
And that's what I think is going to happen, and that's why I switched my pick from the Jets to the Broncos because I think that Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman are pretty damn good. So, all right, so I'm taking the Broncos there. So next game we've got is for me. I mean that Falcons Steelers game is going to be really good, I think, but I think this has potential to be game of the day.
I agree.
Jacksonville Jaguars in Kansas City to play the Kansas City Mahomes.
Kansas City Mahomes.
Mahomes. So the Chiefs. So best defense versus best offense. What more could you ask for? And well, in theory, I think it would be more fun if this game was in Jacksonville because usually the defense thriving off of the crowd is more fun. So, but the defense trying to quiet the crowd is going to be fun too. So, I want to see Jalen Ramsey, do the shushing motion to the crowd a few times if he locks down, whoever he's gonna if he's on Travis Kelce or what have you. So, what do you think about this game? This is probably game of the day, I think, like you said. So, how are you feeling about this?
Pretty much what you said. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. In theory, defense should win, but Arrowhead Stadium's not an easy place to play either, and the Chiefs are an unusual team and an unusual offense in that everything they do is predicated on pure speed.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of it. So
much
usually you can get a team where, they'll have a guy that's fast and you can figure out a way to, have keep somebody over the top all the time to keep them kind of contained a little bit. But they got 3 guys that are really fast. And the quarterback can scoot along too. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what are you going to do? You'll have to, I don't know. It's going to be, I think that is going to be the 1:00 game to watch.
Absolutely.
It's one I don't think there's going to be any other game at 1 that's going to even compare. Now watch. What's going to happen is it'll be a 6-3 and
if it was though, I still think it would be a good 6-3. That's the way I think that game would go. The only thing is, well, actually, let me recant that because Kansas City has a horrendous defense. So if Jacksonville's only got 6 points, then something went horribly wrong for that offense again, just like they did a couple weeks ago against Tennessee, and maybe it wouldn't be a good game. But so yeah, I get what you're saying. I know defense wins championships, but I'm not sure defense wins in Kansas City in Week 5 against a seemingly unstoppable offense, especially if you're as a defense on the field a lot. Because if Blake Bortles doesn't get his crap together and start playing better, like how he played against New England when he was really good, your defense is going to be out there the whole time. And I don't care how good you are, your hands are going to be on your hips gasping for air the whole day because you don't get a breather.
Right.
I'm taking Kansas City. I'm taking Kansas City. I think they can. I have seen no inclination that Patrick Mahomes won't throw 3 touchdowns on your team. So until I see that, I can't not pick against them anymore. Or I can't. That makes no sense. I can't not pick them anymore until I see him actually get shut down. I know he actually didn't technically throw 3 touchdowns or whatever against Denver, but still brought them. They were down 10 in the fourth quarter of Monday Night Football. Still brought them back. Beat Denver. So
thanks to a bogus call.
yeah, completely. But that stuff happens. That's out of his control. He still did what he had to do with the opportunity he was given. So, I'm taking Kansas City here.
It was a fumble. Yeah. So I'm taking Jacksonville.
I like it.
I'm taking Jacksonville because I think that
they're the ones to stop Mahomes.
Well,
because that's the
you
only
can't
way.
stop him. You can only hope to contain him.
Yeah.
No, the problem is that I don't see Kansas City going 16-0.
Right.
Okay?
So they have to lose somewhere. I agree.
Right. They have to lose somewhere, and if they're going to lose somewhere, it better be to the team that's got one of the best defenses in football. I mean,
right.
I don't know. I'm kind of bummed out that Fournette's not playing.
Yeah, that is going to be an issue for them. So that's another reason why I think that they may have more trouble, leaning on Blake Bortles, because all they've got is T.J. Yeldon, and he's T.J. Yeldon's fine, but he's not what we saw at Alabama from him, and he's never been that in this league. So I don't fear T.J. Yeldon. You know what I mean? Like he's fine, but I'm not scared. Like I'm okay with him running the ball. So
right.
you still have to throw it and to keep up with this team, and I don't know if Blake Bortles can do that.
No. I got Jacksonville. I think it's going to be a really close game. I don't think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think it's going to be low to mid 20s, 24-21, 27-24, something.
So can Jacksonville generate 3 touchdowns in Arrowhead? Can they do that?
Oh yeah.
You think so? And offensive touchdowns, or special team, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's fine. I'm not arguing. I just wanted to know, because if that's the case, then they've got a shot. They've got a shot, but I just don't know if they can do that. So, all right. So you're taking Jacksonville, and I'm taking Kansas City.
Yeah. The reason why I think they can, just in a nutshell, is because they're not playing there in November.
Right. It's not going to be freezing. It's going to be like, kind of probably, maybe a little chilly. It's October. It's October 7th, but it's not going to be January. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. Oh yeah, well this bodes well for them too, because it's supposed to be 71 and raining.
Yeah, rain helps defenses for sure. You're gonna have guys slipping and sliding all over the place on routes and everything. That could create some turnover potential too, some opportunities there. So, I just think Kansas City's offense is just really good, and I need to see it to believe it that it's not. You know what I mean?
Yep. All right, next game: Packers at Lions.
This game's weird. Detroit.
Who cares what the weather is going to be, because they're in a dome.
Yeah, Detroit's not good. They smacked New England on Sunday Night Football a couple weeks ago, but I still don't think they're good. They lost to a bad Dallas team, like really bad Dallas team, and I don't know what to make of them. I still don't believe in Matt Patricia. And on the other side, Green Bay doesn't have that good of a defense really at all. And
well, it's funny you say that, because their defense is the 6th ranked defense in football.
Yeah, but they just, I don't know, man. I just don't think they have I really don't think they have a good defense personally. And I know that they're ranked high, but I mean, they'd give it like and by the way, I'm looking at it right now. I think that's a little skewed, because okay, real quick. Packers came back week 1 against the Bears Sunday Night Football when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Packers tied with Minnesota in Green Bay the next week because they couldn't beat them. Then they got smacked by the Redskins in Washington, and they lost by 14. And then they beat Buffalo in Green Bay 22-0. So I think that's probably where the 6th rank comes in, is when they shut out a team, because it probably boosted them by, like, I bet you 10 spots, because I really don't think they're that good of a defense. And obviously, as we know, Buffalo, sucks. So I just don't see it, man. I don't see it on the defense, and Aaron Rodgers is basically playing on one leg. And I still think if we see a report at the end of the year, or maybe later on in the year, if they start losing games, that he's got a torn ACL and he's been playing on it the whole time, I would not be shocked, because he's not mobile at all.
I don't know. Here's the bigger issue: knee, calf, hamstring, concussion. Jimmy Graham, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, Geronimo Allison.
Right.
None of those guys were at practice yesterday on Wednesday.
Right.
I mean, so I'm not so concerned about his defense. I'm more concerned about who's he going to throw the ball to.
Exactly. I mean, Aaron Jones, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Everybody's hurt on that team, and if he can't move and there's no one open because no one is healthy, and all the guys that are there are like second and third stringers, that aren't open, I think he's just going to get destroyed back there and have to throw it away a lot. Honestly, I can see Green Bay punting it quite a bit this time if the Detroit Lions defense plays well, because I just don't know, man. Is Zeke gonna play? Did he play last week?
Nope.
He did not play last week.
Not playing.
Okay, he's out. Okay, so that helps them. Is Gerard Davis? Do we know if he's playing yet?
Jared Davis?
Yeah.
It's uncertain.
All right. Well, I don't know, man. I just if everyone on that Packers offense is actually as hurt as the injury report says they are, if they miss like 3 of those guys, I've got Detroit, so I'm taking Detroit here at home.
Detroit. Yeah, I had all my picks already made, and I had the Packers, but I forgot that everybody they have is hurt. They're going to have nobody to throw the ball to, and even if they do, one wrong move and they won't have them to throw the ball to again. So
right.
I can't take the Packers, and they're playing in Detroit, so it's in a dome. Weather's not going to affect them. Lions at home, that gives them 3 points in theory. I think the Lions have got this one.
Yeah.
Okay, AFC North matchup.
This is going to be the game, by the way, that I watch. Never mind. Sorry. I thought it was at 4 o'clock, but we're still in the 1 o'clock game. So I do want to see this game, though. I really do.
Baltimore Ravens at the Cleveland Browns.
Yes. So you and I talked a little bit. Well, I think Sunday during football, actually. Maybe it was Monday. There was some stuff you wanted to say about Baker Mayfield. Do you want to talk about him real quick?
No, I just thought it was pretty cool how during the game when people were messing up and having issues, as it were, lining up or dropping balls or doing whatever, he wasn't running around like a fool yelling at people and screaming. He was just like, hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. We'll get him next time. Keep going. Go run the same route. Catch the ball next time. He's being a cool dude about the whole thing, where usually rookies kind of come in and they're the ones you got to worry about when stuff like that happens.
Yeah. Like, he doesn't seem like a rookie, does he? Like the way he carries himself. He doesn't, He seems like a guy that's been here for like 4 or 5 years and is like, I belong here, I'm here to do my thing, and I'm going to try to make this team a winner,
Yep.
I'm all in on the Baker Mayfield experience. I have been since when he got drafted. I was like, start him week 1. I don't get the whole Tyrod thing anymore. You got Baker Mayfield, like, he's better, and I think he is. So, that's a whole nother thing. But here's where it's interesting. So, they lost in overtime to Oakland last week, and they put up, what did they put up? 42 points?
Yeah, on 3 runs.
Yeah, so
and Gruden benched 2 different defensive guys too, because they missed their assignments. They benched him. He benched him like in midway through the third quarter. It's like, you're done. If you don't know how to maintain gap integrity, you're done for the day. Sit down. And one of them was Gary and Conley.
Right, and like, we've seen, like, Cleveland isn't actually having that many issues moving the ball anymore. They're really not. Like, they actually look like a somewhat lively offense now. I'm not saying they're super dangerous or anything, but they're not, like, dead in the water and, like, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. They're not like that. So, because, again, Baker Mayfield's a good leader, and I think he's a good quarterback. So, it remains to be seen if that'll actually continue to translate into wins, because he's 1-1 as a starter. But, or I'm sorry, no, he's 0-1 as a starter. He didn't start the Jets game, so he's actually 0-1. But now I'm confused. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm moving on.
No, he did not start, because with him starting and somebody else started Rookies to start their first game are now 0-11.
Right.
The first overall pick.
Right. Exactly. So it was the Raiders, that he started against. But here's the thing, right? It's in Cleveland. It's a divisional matchup. But something no one's really talking about, the Ravens have the second-ranked defense in football. And their offense is actually pretty good, too.
Yep.
And they're 3-1.
Yep. And they've beat some good teams. Teams we think are good teams, but don't have records that reflect that.
Right, but exactly. But they're not knocking over cupcakes in September. So I think Baltimore. I don't know, man. Cincinnati's good too, so I don't know who's going to win that division. But it's going to be one of these two teams. I'm taking Baltimore here. I want to take Cleveland because I want the story to be, I want that story. But I just don't know if Baker Mayfield can do enough against this Baltimore defense because they're only giving up 275 yards a game, and they're only giving up. I'm trying to see real quick. I don't have it in front of me, but they are one of the more penalized defenses in the league too. But they're really good defensively. Like they're really good. Like they're getting back to the Ravens defenses we're more used to that are more dominant. So that remains to be seen if it'll continue over the course of the whole season. But they're good right now. They're playing awesome right now. So I'm taking Baltimore.
Yeah, I got Baltimore too. I don't see any way that the Browns can beat Baltimore, even with the injuries that they've got. Which there's not a lot of terrible ones. There's guys that are questionable and uncertain to play, but they're going to play.
They do need their guy Alex Collins though. He's actually been a pretty important part of their offense so far this year. So and he's got a knee thing, so he's uncertain. So that would hurt them a little bit, but Buck Allen's serviceable for what they do anyway.
Yep.
But I just think Baltimore's better, and well, I know they're better at least right now, and I think that they'll play better. So I'm taking them. All right, this next game, we got the New York Giants at the Carolina Panthers. So what do you think about this game?
I don't think the New York guys are going to be very happy about how hot it is. Yeah. I don't think they can run the ball. I don't think they can throw the ball. I don't think they can stop people that are running and throwing the ball. I think it's going to be a long day.
I do too. I think this is where my guy Cam Newton gets right and actually starts off his 2018 NFL MVP campaign that I called out, and he's done not nearly enough to earn that yet. So no, but I think you're right. I think it's gonna be tough for them to play in down in that really hot, probably humid Carolina, weather, and they're coming off a bad loss anyway. I just think it's going to continue. I don't think the Giants are very good, and there's not a lot to say about this game because I'm not sure the Panthers are that good either. But I know that they're better than the Giants. So
yeah, I don't know if they're that good either, but I know they're gooder than the Giants are. Everybody's gooder than the Giants.
Gooder, yeah.
Well, not everybody. Arizona might not be, but
no, Arizona's not, and I don't know if the Niners are anymore either. But yeah, I just don't know if they've got but that being said, 2 78-yard Saquon Barkley touchdowns and a crazy Odell Beckham play, and they're up by whatever, and they win. So that's the weird thing about this team is they've got the ability to at any time explode on you, but it feels like it's just not going to happen.
Yep, I do. I don't understand. I don't get. Well, I don't know. I would have to look and see how many times Mr. Manning's been sacked or if he's been under a lot of pressure or whatever, but they just can't seem to get it going. He's been sacked 15 times.
Yeah, he's been hit a lot. Eric Flowers has been an utter, I don't even know what to call it. I guess he's a tire fire. I don't know what you call it. He's an utter garbage tackle, and he's just a turnstile, dude. Like, there's no saving that player, and there's no saving Eli because he's never has any time now, So
yeah,
they really need to start retooling that offensive line because it's just hot garbage. So, yeah, we both got Carolina by probably 2 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, watch, New York is going to win that game. All right. That's what's going to happen because, like I said, Barkley will go off and then Odell will do something in the fourth quarter, and we're like, how the hell did they win that game? Moving on. The battle of the 3-1s, the leaders of their division, the AFC North and the AFC East, first place. We've got the Miami Dolphins in Cincinnati to face the Bengals. This game is not interesting to me, and the reason why is because I've lost faith in Miami. I thought they were actually pretty dangerous the first 3 weeks, and then New England smacked them last week, and New England's not that good right now. And New England controlled them and dominated them. And I really don't think New England's that good right now. And Miami just couldn't do anything on either side of the ball. And I lost all the faith I'd had for them. And that was the first game where I'd actually watched them, because I hadn't seen a Dolphin game this year yet, aside from, red zone stuff. But I was like, wow, this team is not good. So Miami
30th in offense, 26th in defense, 28th in passing, and 26th in rushing.
That's Miami?
And they're 3-1.
Jesus. Yeah, and the 3-0 was Tennessee on an 8-hour game. Who else did they beat? Let me look it up real quick, because the first game they played was, like I said, it was a weird game. It was 8 hours long, so that whole thing's out the window. And then they beat the Jets.
They beat the Jets.
Yeah, who, Sam Darnold had some really rookie stuff. And then they beat the Raiders, who were not good as of 2 weeks ago. And I still don't think they are, but they made significant progress towards maybe being good against when they played Cleveland last week. So we'll see. But they were a fake 3-0 team, and they're probably going to nosedive this year because I don't know if they're good at all. They got destroyed by a pretty average, if not below average, New England offense and defense. So we'll see. And Cincinnati, aside from some defensive issues they've had last week against Atlanta, Cincinnati's offense is clicking, dude. They're firing on all cylinders right now, and I think that they're really dangerous.
Yeah, the whole thing with the
and they got Joe Mixon back, by the way. So they did. He played last week too.
Mixon?
Yeah.
He didn't play last week, did he?
I believe he did.
Okay.
Maybe he didn't. Hold up. I was wrong. Sorry for that. He will be back this week though.
Yeah. So just so you know, the whole reason why, for example, not to go back to the Raider thing, but the 3-0, the whole only reason they're 3-0 is because they had 2 plays for 70 yards and 2 plays for 80 yards to get 14 points in a minute and a half at the end of that game.
Right. It was Albert Wilson and who else?
Albert Wilson and Grant.
Mm-hmm.
On an end around.
Yeah.
So that was the whole thing. Other than 2 fluke plays, they were shut down like the first 3 quarters of that game.
Right. They should be 2-2, and if Tennessee gets to play
that whole game was a crazy game. That first game was just insane.
That's what I'm saying. So if they get to play their brand of football week 1 from the get-go, Miami, in theory, maybe should be the 1-3.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, I think Cincinnati is really truly a 3-1 team. I really do. So although they should have maybe been 2-2, because I'm not sure that they would have won that Colts game again if Jack Doyle doesn't fumble that game. Drive, whatever going on.
Now, we were talking earlier, you got to capitalize on the opportunities you're given.
Yeah, 100%.
The Chiefs winning that game with the bad call.
Right, no. And I believe that. I'm just saying I'm not sure if, Cincinnati should be 3-1, but they're definitely not like a 1-3 type team that disguises a 3-1 like I think Miami is.
Yeah, so I would agree with Miami being a fake 3-1 team.
Absolutely, I think Cincinnati is probably going to win 10 games. I think Miami will be lucky to win 7.
Yeah. I could see that. Well, I don't know. If Miami gets straightened out, they might have a decent shot of 7 or 8. But they're not gonna be as good as Cincinnati is at the end of the year. There's no way that's gonna happen unless Cincinnati gets everybody injured.
Exactly, 100%. So we're both taking Cincinnati here, right?
I am, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I also am by 20. I think they're going to...
A lot.
I think they're going to destroy Miami. And it's in Cincinnati, and, so... let's move on to your game of the day, my friend. The Oakland Raiders, at the Los Angeles Chargers. What do you think? Break it down for me.
So here's couple things to know about real fast. I don't want to drag this out real long. Raiders are going to be starting an injured rookie left tackle, an injured left guard, a sort of banged up center, an injured right guard, and a rookie right tackle. Luckily, Bosa's not playing, so there's that. And Carr this year, the whole offense is predicated with him getting the ball out fast. And Penn got hurt. He's playing right tackle. He got hurt early in the game last week, and Parker did perfectly fine. Coincidentally enough, 90 plays on offense last year, which is the most that the Raiders have ever had in a game since the AFL NFL merger. But
90 plays last week, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's this is what it all comes down to right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
On offense, the Chargers are 9th. The Raiders are 2nd. On defense, they're 23rd. The Raiders are 27th. Passing 13th. Raiders 4th. Rushing 8th. Raiders 16th. I think that the passing rushing thing is a little skewed for the Raiders only because they ended up having to try to come back the first 3 weeks.
Right.
So they are more balanced than that. I mean, Marshawn ran for 130 some odd yards last week, but I really think this is going to be either a really good game or a really bad game. And that could go either way. The Chargers could get blown out. The Raiders could get blown out. Or it could be a game where both teams are scoring in the 20s somewhere, and it's and it's entertaining. That who knows? Barksdale's hurt. The tackle is week to week. Travis Benjamin's hurt. Kazir White's hurt. Bosa, of course, is not playing. And then they have their litany of normal Charger type injuries, and then whereas the Raiders, they're just kind of banged up. They got Cooper's hurt, Lynch is hurt, Penn's hurt, Rogers Cromartie's hurt, and then they got a bunch of guys that aren't even playing because they're on IR. Nugent, Ellis, all that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with this game. Very curiously suspicious.
It is, and the lowest amount of points that the Chargers have had almost 30 or more points in 3 out of 4 weeks. They had 29 one week, and then they had 23 the week before, but I don't know if they're going to get blown out. I think it's going to be a shootout as long as Oakland's offense shows up, because I'm not sure you can easily stop this Chargers offense. And I'm not sure you can easily stop the Raiders offense, honestly. So I think these teams actually are pretty evenly matched overall. I really do. It's just going to depend on who screws up first. If Phillip Rivers does something dumb, or if Derek Carr does, or if anyone else screws up. But that's with any game. Honestly, I really think that they're going to go back and forth. They're going to go up and down the field all day in the end zone. And I wouldn't be surprised if this game was 38-35.
Yeah, I mean, last week that was the story of the Raiders game. What was it, 45-42 or something?
It was. I think it was 48-42, wasn't it?
No, it's 45-42.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you guys got a field goal, not a touchdown in the overtime.
Yeah, that game could have very well have been a tie, also.
Right, it almost was, and
yeah, that game was a hair away from being a tie.
I've come to realize something about myself. As long as it doesn't involve New England, which it almost never does, I'm actually rooting for ties because I love chaos, and I'm not even kidding. When there's a game, and it's two objective teams that I just don't care about, and it's getting low, the clock's getting low in overtime, I'm like, oh my God, please tie. It would be so funny, just please tie. I'm rooting for it. It's so funny to me every time it happens. It's hilarious. So I'm rooting for it. With that being said, I don't know. You're taking the Raiders, right?
I'm taking the Raiders because I'm a Raider homer.
Right.
But I'm also taking the Raiders because every single week they've gotten progressively better with a new offense, new defense, new coordinators, new players. They got, half their team is new to each other.
Right.
And they're starting to come together and put more points on the board. Last week they gave up so they gave up a 500-yard run to Nick Chubb and then another 500-yard run to Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb had 3 rushes for 100 and something yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So that normally doesn't happen on straight running plays. Now you can jet sweep them to death, but
right.
You can't seem to stop that to save their lives. So I don't know. Those 2 plays were plays when people were not where they were supposed to be, and like I said, both those guys that screwed those up both got benched for the rest of the game. So take those away, and Cleveland puts up 28 versus 42, which is still not good. But that game was a fast-paced game. Both teams had a ton of possessions.
Right.
So I don't know. I really don't know. I just know that it would not surprise me for either team to win. If I was in a pick'em game pool, this is not be a game that I would even remotely consider.
No, absolutely not. It's going to be a disaster.
So here's another thing to keep in mind too. It's in LA. It's going to be packed with Raider fans.
Oh yeah, it will be. Absolutely. I mean, it was going to be packed with whoever was the opposing team anyway, because the Chargers, I feel like, don't have a fan base, and I know that they actually do, but now they're all in San Diego. So, that being said, I'm taking LA, the Chargers. I think that
the Chargers.
I really like the season that Melvin Gordon's having this year, and I'd like to see some more explosion out of Keenan Allen, and I think this might be a game where he gets right, and lights you guys up a little bit. So I'm taking the Chargers. I'm gonna take them by like 2. They're gonna give up almost as many points as they get, but I think they'll slightly edge you out, slightly edge you guys. So for the record, if this was in Oakland, I'd probably take Oakland. That's what, for anyone who just doesn't know, because I'm sure no one knows, I usually, with games like this, I take the home team just because, unless there's like a real mitigating factor that makes me think, well, I don't know. If a game is like almost basically a pick 'em, like I do think this game is, I take the home team.
Yep.
So.
Yep, I do too. I got a shocking pick for you later.
Oh God. Okay. Well, you're taking. It's not that shocking. You're probably taking the. Never mind. Let's just. I know what you're taking, but I know you're taking Seahawks at against the Rams, aren't you?
Oh hell no.
Oh okay.
I got the Rams by 30 in that game.
Okay. Well, it's in Seattle. That's why I thought that's what you were gonna do. Anyway, next game.
No, the only team that does good in Seattle is the Cardinals. Well,
right.
Before.
No, they do. No. I got you. All right, so next game is the game that no one wants to watch, not even the fans of their own team. Arizona Cardinals at San Francisco 49ers. Not much to say about this game. I'm waiting for them to get David Johnson and realize that he's actually on the team still, because I feel like they just don't know. They just don't use him.
I know. Is that not the most bizarre thing in the world?
They're not using him. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. It's so weird. Like, Steve Wilkes, what are you doing? I'm actually talking to you, Steve Wilkes, because I know you're listening. What are you doing? Play David Johnson and throw it at him every time. Or if you're not going to throw it at him, hand it off to him. Just let him go. Just let him go. He's a beast. Unleash him. And you might actually win. Sorry. I just can't believe it. So I'm turning into like a Stephen A. Smith type figurehead right now, but I just can't believe it. So I'm gonna take San Francisco because I actually like some of the stuff that C.J. Beathard did last week, and they should have Marquise Goodwin. I think Arizona's awful, and I at least think that San Francisco is well coached, if nothing else. So I'm just taking San Francisco. It's in La Belle Bottom, so. That's a Chris Berman thing. So,
yeah, 2 crappy teams. One's got a new quarterback. The other one's got a newer quarterback. I'm taking the Cardinals.
Really? You think they're gonna? Why? I'm interested on that. Why are you taking? Because you heard me, so I know you know why I'm taking San Francisco. But why are you taking Arizona? Because what? I'm not mocking your pick. I'm actually genuinely curious. What would possibly make you believe that they've got a shot to win anything?
Matt Breida's hurt. Marquise Goodwin is still uncertain with his hamstring.
They'll both play, though. I just want to point that out.
Well, okay. Play on a bad knee as a running back, and we'll see how far that gets you.
He did last week.
Yeah, but he didn't. Yeah, okay.
No, I'm just.
I mean, playing and performing are 2 different things. I just think that with a full week of Josh Rosen practice and a marginal offensive output from the 49ers, I see some Chandler Jones smacking C.J. Beathard around a little bit.
I don't know. He's kind of shifty, man. He's kind of hard to catch sometimes. He can move.
I don't know. I'm just thinking, I'm just looking at it from this point of view. The Cardinals' offense stunk with Bradford in there. I'm hoping they're going to get DJ the ball more. Their defense is middle of the road, and then really it's going to come down to what happens with the Niners running game, and I'm thinking the Cardinals are due for a win because I don't see them going 0-16. And if they're going to do it, this will be the week to do it.
That's fair. If they're going to go 1-15, they might as well do it now.
Yeah, I mean, 49ers aren't exactly
No, they're not.
Poster child of success right now. So
no, they're extremely banged up everywhere. So I get it. I mean, I get what you're saying. I just think I think that they're both awful, and I'm taking the team that I just think the one.
You're taking the awful home team against the awful road team.
Well, I'm taking the awful team that's better coached, in my opinion, because I think Steve Wilkes is awful, like in his own right. So, and I don't think Kyle Shanahan's awful at all. I think he's actually really good. So, I just think he's screwed with having no talent really at all, and then at least on offense, and B, everybody who is even remotely good is all hurt. So I just think that's the issue with him. All right, so you're taking Arizona, I'm taking San Francisco. Let's move on. We got 4 more here. So what are you thinking about Minnesota at Philly?
Eagles.
Yeah. Why?
It's got to be. Well, last week was Wentz's first week back. I got to cut him a little bit of slack. Their defense is playing better than Minnesota's. Minnesota can't run the ball to save their lives.
Nope. And their defense.
I just think the Eagles. I think what's going to happen is I think they're going to get up by 10 points, maybe a touchdown, and then it's going to force the Vikings to start throwing the ball some more. And I think Fletcher Cox is going to wreak havoc.
Or Kirk Cousins is just going to throw a bunch of picks because he's maybe not as good as everyone thought he was.
Well, there's always that, but I didn't say it. You did.
Although
I will have you know, Mr. Cousins has thrown 10 touchdowns and only 2 picks, and he's 3rd in the league in yards thrown.
That's fine. It doesn't change that he's not the guy.
Hey, all I know is, listen, he's completing 70% of his passes, 1,400 yards, 350 yards a game, 10 TDs, 2 picks, got a passer rating of 103, and that's with being sacked 13 times.
I just want to, so I get what you're saying. I would like to point out that the 4 defenses that he did that against, the Niners defense, the Packers defense, the Bills defense, and what we thought was maybe a good Rams defense, which actually might not be. That's what he did. He hasn't played anyone remotely respectable defensively. I don't think
I'm calling Aaron Donald right now and telling that you said that they're not even remotely respectable.
Well, let me put you in context with that. They are when they're healthy. They weren't that Thursday night game. They were missing. Who was it out of the 2? Did Talib play or did Marcus Peters play? Because one of them was on one leg and the other one didn't play.
Talib didn't play. Talib's out.
Okay, and so Talib didn't play. Marcus Peters was on one leg, and that severely, that really takes down how I think as good as their defense is, because they have a really good defense, yes, but they're not playing like it right now, and part of it is due to injury, and that's fine. But I'm not saying when they're all healthy they're scrubs or anything. But I'm just saying he threw 3 touchdowns against the Rams defense with one-legged corner. And then the other guy who I don't even know who was playing, but it wasn't Aqib Talib. So he hasn't played anyone good yet defensively. And this is the week where everyone says, oh, wow, he threw 3 picks, and I can't believe it, and no touchdowns, because Philly is going to win this game, and they're going to dominate on both sides of the ball, because I'm not sure Minnesota has that good of a defense anymore either. They're certainly not playing like it.
No, yeah. Well, hold on.
They've got the 21st ranked defense from what I see.
Yeah, I had a giant sneeze I had to deal with. It doesn't help when one of your stars is
crazy,
gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, well, tricks are for kids, not him. And hey, I'm going with the cereal references.
That's gold. I got to tweet that right now. Hold on.
Oh my god. Hey, I'm going with the cereal references that you were going with. I just don't think they're that good of a defense anymore, and I think Carson Wentz is about to be on the on the uprise again because he's.
Yeah, I think it was just. I think everybody says, "Oh, there's no rust." I think he was a little rusty, timings off, and all that kind of stuff last week. I think he's going to keep getting better the next few weeks, and then he'll be back to the old Carson Wentz.
I mean, 100%. So, and then we can move on from this because we're both taking Philly because we actually don't. At least I don't. I don't know if you do either, but I don't think Minnesota is actually that good. I think they're like maybe a 9-10 win team, but they're not that good. But the last thing I want to say about this game is that Carson Wentz was cleared for contact 4 days before he actually started playing. He wasn't really practicing, so of course there's rust. If anyone who says there's not rust is just kidding themselves. There's absolutely rust. So, and it wasn't like he was clear for contact and just waiting. He literally wasn't cleared for contact, and then 3 days later, Doug Pearson's like, "Hey, he's gonna play," and they're like, "Oh, okay," and then they beat the Colts.
Yeah.
So, next game we've got is the LA Rams. The greatest, as Mike Florio's calling them, and it's really annoying, but it's kind of funny. Also, the greatest show-offs on turf. At the
Florio's an idiot. Yeah. Oh, did I say that out loud?
All right, so this podcast will never be on NBC Sports. Anyway, it's fine. I'm fine. But against let's get back on track here. The LA Rams, in Seattle at the Clink, the CenturyLink. The Seattle Seahawks. So, I think if Seattle didn't have Russell Wilson this year, I'm not sure they would ever win a game.
They might win. Well, yeah, because everybody wins. Well, except Cleveland. But usually everybody wins at least a game. But I know where you're going with that, and
they just got no talent, man. And the talent they do have is very scarce, and it's all hurt. Doug Pearson. He's not the receiver. That'd be an old ass receiver. Doug Baldwin is not healthy still. I think he played last week, but he's not himself yet.
Yeah, I am not by any stretch a fan of anything going on in Seattle right now.
I'm telling you, man, Russell Wilson every Sunday is back day because he's carrying this team every week.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing about, I don't know, man. This is what happens when you pay somebody a whole bunch of money, and then for whatever reason you decide you don't want them anymore. Seattle is because the problem is that they have no depth anywhere now. So when people get hurt, I mean,
and we should also mention. Sorry to interrupt you because you're 100% right. We should because this actually ties into your point. We should mention that. Seahawks safety Earl Thomas broke his leg last week, and it's not funny, but it's ironically funny that even he was flipping off. I know we don't know why, but he flipped off. He flipped the bird at his own sideline when he was in the air cast getting carted off because he's probably like, "Hey guys, remember why I wanted to hold out? This is why." That's why players hold out. Because that stuff will happen, and then what's he supposed to do now?
Yeah, hope somebody signs him next year.
Yeah,
the interesting thing about this whole thing is that he doesn't even show up on their contracted players list on Over the Cap.
That's weird.
That's very weird. But I mean, as an example, my point is they have $18 million in dead money. $18 million they're paying to dudes who aren't there anymore.
Right.
And they've got so much money wrapped up in Doug Baldwin and Russell Wilson and Bobby Wagner and Dwayne Brown and KJ Wright and all these guys that they're relegated to playing guys like Tyler Ott and Joey Hunt and David Moore and all these dudes who, never mind. But it's a terrible situation in Seattle.
It is.
If the Rams don't win by 30, I'm going to be very disappointed. I will be absolutely shocked.
Now, with that being said, because I agree with you for the most part, Seattle does have the 7th ranked defense right now, and it is in Seattle. But I'm not sure they really played anybody yet because who they played? They played Arizona, right?
They played Denver and gave up 27 and lost.
Exactly in Denver. But
they played Chicago pre-good Mitch Trubisky and they gave up 24.
And did they win or lose that?
They lost.
Yep.
And then they only gave up 13 to Dallas, who that's not surprising because Dallas can't score.
Dallas is running Madden plays, so they're trash.
Right, and then they played Arizona, who can't
sucks.
play.
Yeah, so they didn't.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the epitome of a terrible statistic about guys haven't played guys. You were talking. I don't remember which game it was. You were talking earlier about. I don't think those guys' defense are as good because they haven't played anybody. These guys haven't played anybody. The only team they've played that is even remotely like got a halfway decent chance of scoring anything at all is I don't know, probably I don't know. Chicago was all hurt at the time.
Yeah.
Like when they played them, everybody was hurt for Chicago on offense. The only team they played that should actually have scored anything was Denver, and Denver should not have put up 27. Denver is not a 27-point offense.
No, they're
not
like a 20-point offense. Right, I agree. No, and I agree. Everything you're saying, you're preaching to the choir because I 100% agree with you. They're the most leading 2-2 team that is in the league right now. Well, maybe not. Maybe Philly is because Philly should probably be 3-0 or 4-0, but the other way. But like, were those the dogs?
Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, no, Seattle I just think is bad, and I didn't think about the defensive, the skewed defensive numbers until you actually said that, but that was brilliant because I think you're 100% right. I think the Rams are gonna destroy them, and the Rams have been historically pretty good in Seattle anyway.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse because you're mentioning Thomas broke his leg. I mean, their defense is only going to get worse from here. So
yeah, it is. It really is. They don't have a lot of depth at all. And by the way. I was texting you while I was at work earlier this week, and I was curious who you had as MVP so far this year, and you said Mahomes. I've actually got Jared Goff, and dude is looking like in 5 years he might be the best quarterback in football. I mean, there's a couple other contenders there, like Wentz is possible, if he stays healthy and continues to grow, and Mahomes obviously is his own animal, but. Dude, Jared Goff and Sean McVay are a match made in heaven.
14 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Who's that?
Mahomes.
Oh yeah. No, I know. I'm not saying. I think we both have compelling cases.
But Jared Goff is rated almost 1 point higher. He's 127.3, and Mahomes is a lowly 126.5.
Right. So I know. It's crazy, but I just wanted to point that out because Jared Goff is on another level, and people are like, and now it's like a fantasy thing where people are like, oh well, they got Brandon Cooks now, and they still have Todd Gurley, but like people aren't realizing, dude, Jared Goff is like awesome, like he's very good.
Hey, something just occurred to me. If the Raiders get lucky and pull off the victory against the LA Superchargers, they'll be 3-3 at the end of Week 6.
Oh God. Okay. Oh, we're moving past that. We're both
because they got to play Seattle, so.
Oh yeah, they should win that game.
All right, so back to this game. We've covered this. You've got the Rams. I've got the Rams.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the Rams.
Yeah, it is.
Anybody who doesn't got the Rams needs to pick a different game to pick.
Or they live in Seattle, so.
True.
The Sunday night football game is going to be.
Jesus.
The Battle of the Alamo. No, I don't know. That's. I'm fired. It's Dallas Cowboys at the Houston Texans, who are both bad teams, but I've seen more life recently out of Dallas, so I'm taking them. I don't have a lot to say about this game. I don't think either team is good. I don't think either team will be in the playoffs at all, or even be close to the playoffs. I think they're both 6-7 win teams, but I'm taking Dallas because I've just seen more out of them. More recent, so it's recency bias. I'll admit it, but I'm just taking Dallas because I don't touch either team here. So
I'm taking the Texans.
Yeah, how come?
Because they can run the ball, they can throw the ball.
Can they run the ball?
They're 9th in the league in rushing. They got the 5th ranked offense.
Yeah, but are we?
Dallas is 27th.
Are we sure? Well, Dallas's offense is garbage. But are we sure they can run the ball? Because Lamar Miller is not inspiring when he's running.
Well, I don't know if Lamar Miller is inspiring when he's running or not, but I can tell you that he's got 225 yards, but there's this other dude named Deshaun Watson who's got 161 and is averaging 7 yards a freaking carry.
Okay, that's fair. I didn't even see in my head. I'm just thinking if they have Lamar Miller and Alfred Blue, how are they 7th? But that would check out completely. So checks out. I don't know, man. They have the worst offensive line in football. Maybe tie with Seattle, and for worst offensive line in football. And I don't know. And the defense is just not playing that well either.
No, the defense isn't, but they're starting to get wound up a little bit more though.
Yeah, and that's to be expected, especially with J.J. Watt coming back after missing a whole year. I'm taking Dallas because I just saw them at least. At least they came back and beat Detroit last week. They actually did something. So and they put up,
I wouldn't call that an outstanding feat, but you are true about that.
I'm not saying it's outstanding, but I'm saying they did something. They're not a corpse like I think the Texans, entire team might be. So
you got Dallas.
I'm taking Dallas, yeah.
Yep, and I got the Houston Football Texans.
Oh God. Yeah, I'm probably gonna not watch that. Well, maybe I will, but I'm not gonna enjoy it. I'll be sad the whole time.
I'm not gonna watch it. I'll play Destiny or watch TV. So
all I have to say is thank God basketball's back soon, because then I can skip really bad Sunday and Monday and Thursday night games like that, and I'm not interested.
Baseball playoffs, baby.
Yeah, baseball as well. Go Brewers. So, our last game is a Monday Night Football. It's I actually think this is a really interesting game. I mean, me personally, I like both these teams. The way they're constructed, the way they're playing. Washington Redskins at the New Orleans Football Saints. So, if they continue to ride Alvin Kamara into the sunset, two things are going to happen. One, he's going to play for like 4 more years.
I was going to say, one, he's going to have a short career.
Yeah, and two, he's going to make the Hall of Fame. Because the dude is freaking unbelievably good. He's so hard to take down. He can do everything that you ask him to do on the football field. Alvin Kamara, if the Saints were undefeated right now, I would say Alvin Kamara for MVP. Because he's so, I mean, and let me preface that with saying I know it's hard to put him over a quarterback, and that's fine. But other than non-quarterback, he's the best player in football on offense right now. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to stand by that. He's the best offensive player in football that's not a quarterback. Because the dude is just sick. And he's only in his second year, and he was sick last year too. But, now let's talk about this though. Does his production, it gets pretty decreased, because Mark Ingram should be back for this game, right? He's back from suspension? Yeah, so he's back from suspension. So they're obviously going to use the two-headed monster that they had last year now. So I don't know what to expect from how Alvin Kamara's role changes in this offense. But he is so freaking good, man. He's so good. And I didn't even mention that they have a guy emerging as one of the top 5, 6, whatever receivers in football. Michael Thomas is ridiculous. Michael Thomas is so good. He's so good. And if you're a Saints fan, yeah, Drew Brees, your quarterback, is 41, I think, or 40. I think he's 40. Or maybe he's even 39. But anyway, he's old. Drew Brees is old. So yeah, you're getting to the end of the line with your quarterback, but you've got 2 guys in Kamara and Michael Thomas. For as long as you can keep them both together, that can propel your offense for years to come. Because those dudes both are awesome. And I just wanted to say that because they're so good. Now, on the other hand, we've got the Washington Redskins, who they have the 3rd-ranked defense, and they're playing well. Don't get it twisted now. Yes, they played a one-legged Aaron Rodgers, but they stifled him, and the Bears couldn't do that, and the Bears have a good defense too. So I don't know what to say about all that, but I'm just going to say that the Redskins' defense is looking good. If Alex Smith can just stabilize things, they'll be able to score on this New Orleans defense, and this could end up being a shootout. This is going to be a fun game, I think. I really do.
Yeah, the thing is that
I had a tangent, and then you're like, yeah, I don't want to watch this game.
No, the thing is, so here's the thing, right? So Washington's 14th on offense. The Saints are 24th on defense.
Yeah.
The Saints are 4th on offense. The Redskins are 3rd on defense.
Yeah.
The Redskins can not throw the ball real well. They're 18th, but they can run it. They're 5th.
Right.
And conversely, the Saints can throw the ball. They're 7th, but they can't run it. They're 18th. I mean, I can't say, not run it, but
Well,
they're like complete opposites of each other. But they're playing in New Orleans. I got the Saints by 20.
20. Wow. You think they're going to blow them out?
Yeah.
See, I think it's going to be a close game. I definitely don't think they're going to blow them out, but I am taking New Orleans, especially with the addition of Mark Ingram. Even if he only plays limited snaps, I think he's going to be... Because you're right. So New Orleans hasn't really... I've been watching them pretty closely this year so far. They're not really running the ball that well, but it's not actually a problem because they're basically running it. It's just like... See... It's not really a run because obviously it's a pass, but they're really just throwing to Alvin Kamara right out of the backfield like almost every play. You know what I mean? So yeah. It's essentially a run because they're doing it anyway, but it's just a different means of getting him the ball. But I think that changes their ability to run changes when Ingram comes back as well because he's awesome. So I'm taking. I
just don't think Washington's going to put up points. They got two of their linemen are dinged up. Josh Doxson's hurt. Adrian Peterson's hurt.
So I agree with you on that.
I just don't think they're going to put any points up. They will. They'll put up 10, 14, 17, but I think the Saints are going to
I agree with you. I will say though that if Washington, like you keep saying, somebody has to do something every week because they're not going to go in 16 whatever. That how you were saying that earlier. Washington's not going to score whatever. How many points are they averaging right now? Do we know? The Redskins.
If I just take a quick peek at it, 24, 9, 31, and then a bye week.
Right. So, I mean,
so you're going to get the 9 points against the Indy team, or you're going to get the 24 against Arizona, or the 31 against Green Bay? Because those are three vastly different offensive performances.
100%, I agree with you. What I'm here to say is, I'll tell you. They're going to put up points, and the reason why I think they might is because I'm looking now. New Orleans has the 24th ranked defense. They're averaging giving up 30 points a game. So if you're going to score, this is the week to score.
Yeah, but you got to look at the teams that they've played. They played Fitzmagic.
Yeah. Okay. So they played the Fitzmagic, and
they played Atlanta,
right?
Which they can score. They just can't stop anybody.
No.
And then they only gave up 18 to Cleveland and 18 to the Giants.
Right. But I don't know, man. I get what you're saying, and I also think that I know that one of the touchdowns the Giants had was also garbage time, but the Giants just couldn't move the ball all day because they couldn't block anybody because they just have no offensive line. But I'm just telling you, I think giving up almost 40 points to two teams that I'm not sure are actually, well, Atlanta is good, well, sort of good, but I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think their defense is good at all. Really, I'm not really sold on it. And it's a fine. It's below average though. The Saints defense. So, but I mean, I'm saying all this. I am taking the Saints. I just wanted to point that out that if Washington was going to score at any week, this is the week to do it. So, like you've been saying, but I do think that New Orleans will pull that one out because I think Ingram coming back, Kamara is awesome. So yeah. Who dat? I hate that. I hate it. I just wanted to say it. So, all right. Well, I think this wraps up episode 6 of the 108.1 FNFB podcast. At some point this year, whenever we stop being lazy and we actually format a second episode per week, we're going to start doing one. It just remains to be seen when. So, yeah. So, you got anything else to add?
Toodaloo.